How much money can be made from tire repair in Pakistan? The donkey water repair technique is enough to show the master's strength. However, he is the only one in the repair shop. The repaired tire has never overturned. The owner of the loader with the tire in front of him, since it costs nearly 80,000 rupees to buy a new tire, it is probably a month's living expenses for a family of 6. Most car owners will choose to send it to the repair shop. Here it only costs a very small 2,000 rupees, and you can enjoy 30 years of manual repair. For such a tire with a huge wound, the master usually uses a shovel to expand the section and scrape out a certain amount of burrs with a cone plate. The main purpose is to increase the friction of the section. Then use an angle grinder equipped with a wire brush to grind the inner wall around the tire wound. The master's repeated movement technique shows his high requirements for details. The subsequent inner wall will rely on tire skin adhesive repair. The cleaner the repair, the better the repair effect. For the wound of the broken wire on the tread, the master will cross the nylon rope to restore the strength of the broken position. However, the 4 strands of nylon rope will penetrate the tread. Nylon thread can provide protection for the wound. There is such a way. The mouth has been completely tightened under the weaving of nylon thread, but there is still a great risk of air leakage on the inner wall. In order to restore the tread to the original tightness, the master polished a piece of waste tire skin. The skin is not only the key to tire repair, but also the main material for subsequent vulcanization. However, if you want to repair the outside more firmly with sulfur alone, you have to use raw rubber sheets to stack and fill the wound. This can make up for the part removed by the shovel blade to prevent the wound from cracking again due to insufficient thickness. With the filling of multiple layers of raw rubber sheets, the woven nylon rope has been completely covered. Next, the tire skin can be pasted on the inner wall. However, the internal pressure of such a large tire will be very high. The vulcanizer obviously has insufficient bonding strength, so a layer of raw rubber sheets is needed. The raw rubber sheets cut into strips and stacked together can make the added layers of the two have a better vulcanization effect. The repair shop does not have any high-end tools, but as long as the craftsmanship of the master is exquisite enough, it can also completely cover. The tire skin has the best adhesion effect, but it also requires extremely high temperature fluidization at the end. The outer side of the mouth needs to be completely squeezed. For a loader tire with large tread fluctuations like this, the master has to manually create a tread mold to provide a certain extrusion force during high temperature fluidization. Through mud shaping, a sandbox that can be used for glue columns is completed. Considering that the temperature during injection molding will also scald the tire, the melting point can not only be melted and used repeatedly, but its own hardness is completely sufficient to cope with extrusion. Although injection and friction will stick off a layer of the tire surface, it is harmless for tires of this magnitude. The donkey water that melts into liquid through the liquefier for half an hour should be directly poured on the surface of the tire, waiting for the donkey. Although the whole process requires glue 1 spoonful at a time, the Pakistani people never complain about the solid conditions. It is their positive attitude towards work. The master used a wooden stick to clean the mud. It was obvious that the aluminum block was cast successfully. Then the formed aluminum block was demolded until the surface temperature dropped completely. Next, the part where the raw rubber sheet was pasted needed to be coated with vulcanizer again to prevent the vulcanizer from drying out and affecting the vulcanization effect. When the tire was supported by the aluminum block on the outside, not only a large number of weight blocks needed to be laid inside, but also a bare rod furniture needed to be installed to provide the required downforce to the inner wall. After 2 hours of high temperature vulcanization, the tire skin of the wall had been integrated and there was no sign of cracking on the outside of the wound supported by the aluminum block. So what do you think of the strength of such a tire?